Hello, my name is Mr. Galleon and welcome back to Buried. So we were left off with finding this little abandoned place, and I decided to say that there was an old power station. Dennis shakes his head. Why would one be way out here? He's right. I can't come up with a legitimate reason for something like this being here. Do you think the others maybe went in here? He asks, nervously. Why would they do that? I ask. I don't know. But they aren't out here. If they aren't inside, they're probably dead, like Tony. He looks at the ground as he says this. I want to go inside, but not just to find my crew, but also to appease my curiosity. That ringing noise is coming from inside. But something about this place seems incredibly strange, especially located all by itself out here. It simply does not belong here. I wonder, do we knock or do we just go in? Dennis asks. I can tell that he's trying to make a joke, but it falls flat. I am starting to think his humor is a defense mechanism for his fear. We both look ahead, take a moment to realize what we are about to do, and start forward. We get no more than 3 feet closer when Dennis wobbles. You okay? Easy, I say. How you feeling? Fine, he says. It's just that... And then he pinches forward and starts falling to the ground. It happens in a way that feels like slow motion, and back in the darker parts of my mind, I wonder if he's dying. I'm okay, he said. Just... Can you help me walk for a little while? Just help me inside, please. I can't deny him his request, but I've never seen him this weak, and it's a little uncomfortable to see. It makes me glad I decided to keep him with me. I help Dennis into the weird little building. The front door opens easily, even though there's clearly a lock on it. Maybe the lock was supposed to keep someone in. It's hard to tell. I still hear that ringing noise. It's definitely coming from in here. Stretching out in front of me is a small interior to match the outside. The building is totally empty. There's a concrete floor and dingy, featureless walls. There are no windows, giving the place an even more isolated feeling. Still, we hear the ringing noise coming from somewhere in here. It's loud now, more prominent. The interior seems confined at first, but a small set of concrete steps leads about 5 feet down, revealing a corridor. Continue. That's not spooky at all. Kind of looks like a shelter, like if you're under attack. It's a massive corridor, in fact, like I'm in some kind of building underground. It seems to go on forever. This corridor is mostly dark, with emergency lights every 10 feet or so. I assume we're now underground because this corridor extends far beyond the walls of the building we encountered. I realize that someone might not appreciate finding us here. Well, I don't see any other doors, so maybe we should try walking quickly? Oh, probably gonna regret that. I'm eager to find out what's going on here. Our footsteps echo loudly in the dust and the dirt. Dennis leans on me for support. If there is anyone in here, it's not like we're trying to be quiet and stealthy with the intention of sneaking up on them. If anyone is listening, they definitely know we're here now. As I carry Dennis to the far end of this otherwise featureless place, I see a light of concrete stairs leading down. I have to set Dennis down on the floor. His weight is killing me. Dennis, are you okay? Stop worrying, man, he says. I'll be okay. I just need a minute's rest. And looking at him, I'm not too sure. I can still hear the ringing noise every so often, coming from somewhere in here. I look ahead at the concrete stairs, pointing towards them so that Dennis sees them. Can you make it down those stairs, I ask? He stands up slowly, and is visibly making an effort to not fall down. Yeah, he says, and sounds a little irritated. He starts for the stairs without me, and I have no choice but to follow. We approach the stairs, and by just looking at them, I get the sense that we're crossing some sort of line here. There may very well be no going back. And if you excuse me a moment, I'm just gonna go eee, and then readjust this camera slightly. Right. Okay, that's slightly better for me. So let's continue onwards. Continue. Yep, it glitched. Oh, sorry about that, it glitched. Ooh. So we're going up now. It's interesting. We're going up. As I head down the stairs, I notice that they look aged. That damn ringing noise is somewhere below, louder than ever. I feel like I'm walking down into the cellar of a haunted house, the light becoming scarce as the stairs take a slight turn. I can feel the temperature drop. Dennis makes it a few steps down before he's leaning on the wall. He's breathing like he just finished a marathon. Let's pause to give him a break. Let's take a break, I say, putting my hand towards his shoulder to help steady him. Dennis lets out a sigh. Thanks. I don't feel too great, boss. As we're both squat down on a stair, my mind seems to lock on the unknown fate of the rest of my crew. Frank is married, and I've met his wife a few times. A nice woman with a huge laugh. My heart sags a bit when I realize I might never again get to hear him belting out classic rock tunes during lunch break. Joe, well, I don't know too much about him. He's 22 years old and is considering community college. His folks are dead beats, so he has been providing for himself since the age of 16 or so. Very independent. So maybe I can still find them and still get to hear Frank singing in his deep baritone voice after a few too many drinks. After a few drinks, Dennis says, "Alright, let's keep going." We both stand up, leaning on each other. I have to make Dennis stay behind me as I stick my foot out in search of the next step. I can't help feeling like a child as a very powerful fear seizes me. I'm expecting a monster to reach out of the darkness, slicing into my throat. After what feels like forever, we come to the bottom of the stairs. We're closer to that ringing noise now. A door sits securely in the wall and looks just as out of place down here as I feel. A sliver of light seeps through, illuminating the area. The door has what it looks like a panel with lots of labels and lights. Small, embossed print above the panel says, Level 1 Entrance Gate, Transport Sector, and there's no button with no label. Let's inspect it first before we go pushing buttons. The panel looks like a diagnostic or alert system of some kind, each label meant to communicate some status. Lockdown engaged, experiment in progress, shutdown engaged. Those all appear to be off, but one of the phrases has a slowly blinking red light next to it, the only powered light on this whole thing. Abnormal entity breach. What the hell? I slowly push the door open when Dennis suddenly steps in front of me, taking the lead. "Let's go," he says. "I want to find out what the hell this place is." As Dennis walks through the door, that ringing or beeping or whatever it is gets a little louder. The door closes behind us with a click. I can't help but notice the wobble in Dennis' step as he leaps out a grunt. "You sure you're healthy enough to keep going?" I ask. "It doesn't matter. I don't want to be in the woods right now." He seems scared, something I've never seen before. Angry, yes. Upset, yes. But Dennis is never scared. "What did you see?" "I don't know what it is, boss. But it was like someone had left a radio on, crackling. But we don't have any radios at the site. It was, I don't know, it was like something in the forest was moving." I give him a doubtful look, and he casts his eyes to the ground, frustrated. "I know how it sounds," he says, "but I know what I felt. It was like walking into a funeral parlor, feeling death and gloom everywhere. I've been so preoccupied with my own fear that I nearly forgot about the ringing noise. It had become just background noise now." Now? I'm adding words. We take a few more steps, and I can now see where we are. It makes no sense. Yet another thing that simply seems out of place. The shapes and mute colors of metal are easy to identify, but it just doesn't belong here. End of chapter 1. Ooh, yes. What's gonna happen now? Respect the dead. You and 36 of players left Tony's body where you found it. Secrets. You and 76 of players were upfront with Dennis about Tony's death. Trust. You and 55% told Dennis you believed his story. Curiosity. You and 75 of players went to investigate the ringing sound. teamwork. You and 64% of players decided to bring Dennis with you. Wow. So a lot of people actually removed Tony's body. I didn't know this game had statistics for who chose what. Well, let's begin chapter 2. It's kind of like a Resident Evil vibe now. Oh, we're standing on the famed platform on what looks like a fancy subway. The rails look well used but not old. There are some overhead lights that are very dim, as if they are running on emergency power. The dim overhead lights are a blessing, but the size of the place makes me feel vulnerable. Staring ahead, the tunnel seems to be endless. It's almost dizzying. But there is a small light further ahead, and then a space that breaks the monotony of the tunnel's curved surface. Another platform, maybe. Why are we in a subway tunnel? Dennis, what do you think this is? Looks like we're waiting for the D train, Dennis says with a deadly sounding cackle. Also, the ringing noise is louder down here. It's much more solid now, and there's some other sound. Something like the faint hum of machinery. What's your take on this, boss? You think we're safe here? Dennis asks. Not at all. This is what I think to myself, but I don't want to let Dennis see that I'm rattled. While he seems to be limping along much better than when we were first stumbled into this place, he's still in rough shape. I'm leading him here, and I should probably make him feel confident in that. I'm lying. You reassure Dennis. We're too far in to go back, I say. Besides, if we get caught for trespassing, I'm pretty sure we'd slide by. We're good. You're in pain, and we got to find the rest of our crew. They could still be here somewhere. Dennis nods and looks reassured, a bit weak and miserable. From the looks of it, we can go either left or right. The light is slightly lit. The right, very dark. This makes me uneasy because I get the sense that one wrong turn in a place like this would have us wandering for hours. Suddenly, I jerk my head to the right, and as I hear the unmistakable sound of someone walking. Did you hear something? I asked Dennis, my eyes straining to see anything in the darkness. Not sure, he says. Maybe it's kind of sounded like footsteps. I wait a moment, but the sound doesn't come again. So those are our options. To the left are flickering lights, indicating that, well, at least we'll be able to see. There's also a hum from machinery, a sign of life. To the right is just darkness, but we also heard footsteps in that direction. Let's go left, or let's go right. Well, in any horror game that I have played, footsteps is normally an indication that something is bad, like you're being drawn into it, especially if you can't see what it was. So I'm gonna go left. At least we can see. If we see, we can we can run away. Compared to the darkness, you can't see a thing. You decide to go into the lights. Seems smart to stay in the light. Left it is. Or maybe it's the game is tricking me to think that going into the darkness would be a bad idea, but it's actually a good idea. As we head left, the lights ahead are like a beacon in the dark, luring us forward. Someone left the lights on for us, Dennis says, trying to be funny, but creeping me out instead. I wonder if that's a good or a bad thing, I say. As we're near the lights, I hear the hum of machinery grow louder. It doesn't sound like any machine I've heard before. Maybe I made a bad choice. As the light increases, I use it to take an inventory of Dennis and his condition. While the bleeding seems to have stopped, the amount that has soaked into his pants and shirt is beyond alarming. How much further can you walk? I ask him. Can you keep going? Yes, Dennis. Yes, Dennis says. Let's walk into the deep tunnel that has no business being here. Now fully stepping into the light, I notice that the sound of machinery is coming from an area on the left side that is protected by a guardrail. Wisps of bright blue light dance on the walls as they leak out from whatever is below. I also notice a posted sign that says "Danger! Severe radiation poisoning threat." Well, it says danger. You should really follow it. If you don't follow it, you get into big trouble and you die and your head falls off. And Dennis, I don't think we should get near whatever is down there, I say. Dennis studies the blue light a bit longer and then nods. He's hurting enough as it is. I don't think we need to add radiation poisoning to his list of elements. Or mine, for that matter. We step away and take off down the tunnel again. As I start walking, I notice another structure coming into view up ahead. Is it a statue? Is it a machine? Is it a train? Huh. A guard stop? Guard point? As we head further into the tunnel, we reach another platform. There's a light coming from the platform, but like the overhead lights, they are dim, red emergency lights. I start to wonder if the explosion at the logging site caused a power outage in this place, whatever this place is. The ringing noise that I originally thought was in my head is getting louder. I'm starting to think it's some sort of alarm. When we come to the large open area ahead in the tunnel, it further resembles a subway station. As much as I try to ignore the reality, it's undeniable. We have stumbled into some sort of high-tech transportation system that is buried beneath the forests of Kentucky. It makes absolutely no sense and creates an entirely new sort of fear as to what the hell we have walked into. I notice that Dennis seems confident though. Wait, why is he confident? When we reach the large opening, we have to climb over the rails and up onto the platform. I have to help Dennis over the rails and then up the small utility ladder that is bolted into the opposite side of the travelway. When he reaches the large open area resembling a subway waiting area, he collapses on the floor and lets out a heaving breath. You know what? Dennis is exasperated. This is ridiculous. I quit. I'm not going any further. On top of worrying about my crew and the madness of wherever we are, I am not in the mood for Dennis to act like a baby. I look like a baby. He's bleeding to death. How? He's bleeding to death. No. Crying out loud. I'm not the one with a gasp in my side. Exactly, I think to myself. So I decided to cut him some slack. Damn, boss, I'm sorry, he says. It's okay, I say. I don't know how you're still on your feet, if I'm being honest. Stubbornness, he says with a weak laugh. You need a minute to rest? I ask, as warmly as I can muster. No, if I sit down to rest, I'm afraid I might not be able to get back up. Let's keep going while I can still go. I reach down, help him to his feet, and then we get ourselves up onto the platform. Right in front of us, there's an entrance to a long hallway, exiting the platform area. It's at this point that I realize those red emergency lights might be on for someone else who's actually supposed to be here. We'll stay quiet. We'll play it safe. Play it safe. I'm still not sure if I want to alert anyone to the fact that there are strangers in this secret place, and the thought of hearing a scream, even my own, in this empty place is too much to bear. The emergency lights continue to flicker overhead, casting a sick sort of pinkish light on everything. My mind is racing with what sort of place this might be. It's obvious this is meant to be a secret, and if it is supposed to be a secret, and there was a power outage recently, maybe most of everyone has been evacuated. This thought does nothing to make me feel any better as we walk towards the platform exit. We step inside and it seems just as empty as every other place we come through, weakly illuminated by some overhead emergency lights. We're standing inside a hallway that looks surreal for a moment. Continue. It's like doomsday, it's the end. Zombies have invaded. Or we're actually breathing in toxic waste and we're actually dying, we don't know. Hence the ringing. The hallway reminds me of a hospital wing, but there's something not quite right about it. It's the first clean and tidy area I've seen since coming into the woods. It looks like it was recently in use despite the dim emergency lights overhead. There are stairs against the walls and the floor looks well cleaned, as do the walls. The ringing noise is definitely coming from here, and a small flashing red light along the ceiling seems to flash along with it. That ringing noise is an alarm, I say, if only to confirm my own thought. But for what? Dennis asks, and then he asks the question that has been on my mind since I found the little building in the woods. What the hell is this place? We exchange a look that speaks volumes. We reach the end of the hallway and hear a sound like a large metallic grinding. This is followed by clicking noise, and then the unmistakable noise of a generator kicking on. Hopefully just an automatic generator, nobody... Well, that got dark quick. Without warning, the facility jolts to life. The red glow of the emergency lights is suddenly replaced by bright white fluorescent ones. That mechanical hum is oddly comforting. Somehow, the power being back on urges us on. It's then that I notice the ringing noise has stopped. So it had been an alarm, but for what? Just a power failure? We head down the hallway, the electric hum of the lights sounding eerie overhead. Other than that, the place is dead quiet. The hall is about 100 feet long with 2 main doors. One door opens onto a large room that looks like a conference room with a whiteboard and papers strewn about. Across the hallway, another door looks like a laboratory of some sort. Dennis slumps against the wall in defeat and lets out a scary sounding chuckle. Funny, isn't it? I ask as a dark and broadening panic starts to grip me. Dennis just keeps chuckling as he slides down to the floor. I'm just gonna sit here while you look around, he says. There's a look in his eyes that reminds me far too much of a dead animal on the side of the road. So what if the alarm was actually just to draw people in? So there must be definitely someone else with us. Should we enter the conference room or the lab? Conference room or lab? Lab? Let's have a look at the lab. There's definitely something fishy going on here. Walking inside, I see small vials and glass containers held in a clear glass case. Everything is either glass or silver, and I instantly feel like I am dirtying the place up. Why not? I notice several test tubes in glass cases, as well as some sort of tube system that seems to have a clear fluid trapped inside of it. In the back corner, I find a laptop in screensaver mode. Look at the laptop. Look at it. I hit the enter key and a plain grey background pops up. There are several icons and folders to choose from. I click on a folder named Test 15 Ethos. A few documents are filled with formulas and names I mostly don't understand, but there are some things that are easy to understand and things that make my blood go cold. Subject number 6, cause of death, embolism or aneurysm, or both. Ideas for new delivery mode. Cervical liquid induced comatose state first. Terracore equals possible plutonium supplier. I can't help but check out the test tubes. They're all filled with varying green and light blue fluids. One of them looks to have some sort of glowing dirt resting in the bottom of it. Another holds what looks like a grasshopper submerged in liquid, only it's the strangest grasshopper I've ever seen. At first it looks like it's expanding and contracting, like a blowfish. Then it contracts so much that it vanishes completely. As I look closer, it springs back into existence in a completely different test tube, and I'm embarrassed when I actually jump back. I take another look around the lab, trying to piece together what might have been taking place here. I smell some sort of chemical in the air, and it makes me think that someone has used this lab recently. Outside in the hallway, I hear Dennis grunting. I head out of the room to see him still seated on the floor, but I don't get very far, because as I exit, a man comes rushing in around the corner with an automatic rifle in his hand. Oh no! Why do you have an automatic rifle? It's hard to look beyond his rifle, no kidding, but the man who's carrying it is young, with messy dark hair. His skin is so pale that I wonder if maybe he lives down here. He has a look of a guy who's been cooped up for a little too long. He doesn't seem like the kind of person I trust with a gun in a stressful situation. As he sees us in the doorway, he screams and brings the gun up. It is aimed directly at us. I'm not gonna... I put my hands up in the air, surprised at how unnatural it feels to go into this surrender state. Maybe it's because this feels like a dream. Maybe it's because I feel like I'll snap awake if the maniac pulls the trigger. I recognize you. You stomped around and set off the security mics in the entrance. What? I ask, unable to think of anything else to say. Who are you? The man asks, Did you do this? The man eyes us both, and I see something in his eyes that unsettles me. He is scared, but there is something else. We're just loggers. His eyes look distant for a minute, and then he says, bullshit. But for some reason, I'm pretty sure he knows I'm telling the truth. Someone knocked the power out, the man says. It's back on now, but if it was out long enough, well, we're in a heap of trouble. What is it? You? Who sent you? Look, we don't know what you're talking about, Dennis says. Something happened out in the woods. Are you alone? Are there others with you? The armed man asks, thrusting the gun in my face. How the hell did we get in this situation? I think to myself, if only I'd left that damn ringing noise alone, we wouldn't be here. I'm not really sure if we want to give this guy information yet. We don't know anything about him. Then again, he may have answers. We're just looking for our crew. They've gone missing. We have other crew members that we can't find, I say. Your crew? He asks, seeming confused. If this man thinks that we're nuts, there's no telling what he might do. The fact that he looks like a little crazy himself makes the situation even hairier. But how'd you get in here? The man asks. I pointed down the hall towards the subway, whatever way it is. We came in that way. The doors weren't locked. His expression calms a bit, but I am still very aware of the gun that is leveled less than a foot away from my face. You ask the man calmly to put his gun down. The only way I'm putting this rifle down is after I've blown your brains out, the man says. With that, he sticks the muzzle of the gun in my face. It's a childish move, a playground tactic at best, but it's sufficient to show me that he knows he's in control now. He then levels the rifle at Dennis, and I can only assume it's because his wounds make him appear to be the weaker of us. What? The man takes a shaky step forward. Dennis looks back and forth between the barrel of the gun and me, his eyes pleading for help. Step between Dennis and the gun. Yep. Step in between. Before I'm fully aware of what I'm doing, I step out in front of Dennis. The barrel of the rifle is nearly touching my chest now. Both Dennis and the man seem a little confused at my action, and I do my best to swallow down my fear. I don't know what's going on here, I say, but we are here by mistake. Well, you have no business here, the man says, but now that the power is on, I don't think you might be too late anyway. For what? I ask. But he doesn't answer me. Instead, he steps forward and actually pushes me backwards to the end of his rifle. The man then repeats a question he asked before, one that makes no sense, and honestly, makes me think he might be a little crazy. Who sent you? He asks. You assholes from the Pentagon? Well, I'm not quite sure how to take this question. Is this guy joking? Yeah, I'm the president. No, what the hell are you talking about? Don't think I want to be cheeky with someone holding a gun to me. No, I say. We're just loggers. Something blew up and my friend got hurt. We're looking for the rest of our crew. Likely story, the man says, but I see a flicker of recognition in his face that makes me think he might believe me. Still, his grip on the gun is as tight as ever. The look in his face makes me think he'll shoot at any moment. You both just stand there. You both just stand still. Okay? He says, sooner or later someone will come along and I'll turn you over. He again thrusts the gun forward, as if it has been an invisible bayonet on it. There's no need for that, I tell him. I have no guarantee that he won't pull the trigger. Look, Dennis says, we don't want any trouble. We're just as confused as you are. Then, in a moment so fast that I just about miss it, Dennis lunges forward. I have no idea how he's moving so fast. Just 30 seconds ago, I was worried about him close to death, he looked. But now, he's moving lightning fast, his left arm coming down on the barrel of the gun like a club. In the commotion, the man does pull the trigger. The booming noise is deafening, and there's a moment where I think I've been hit. It takes the clanging noise of the round tearing into the floor at my feet to help me realize that I have not been shot. Thank God. I look to the floor and see where the shot missed my right leg by less than 3 inches. I'm paralyzed, in shock for a moment as Dennis and the man fight over possession of the rifle. There's a fire extinguisher on the wall I could use as a bludgeon, but I might not have enough time to grab it before Dennis is overpowered. Go for it, come on, we can do it. I take the chance, dashing for the extinguisher, but my absence gives the man enough time to pop Dennis on the side of the head with the rifle. As I hear Dennis wail with pain, I rip this extinguisher from the wall and instantly lift it over my head. The man realizes what I'm doing as I come barreling across the room, but he's too late. I bring the extinguisher down quick. He doesn't have time to adjust the rifle for a clear shot. All he can do is partially block the blow, which he does poorly. I've hit him between the neck and the shoulder along his right side. He hollers out and falls awkwardly to the floor. There's a dazed look on his face, and I wonder if I maybe have knocked him out for a moment. He still holds the gun, but his hands are limp. I feel the extinguisher heavy in my grip. I could hit him again to make sure he won't be a threat. No, maybe we shouldn't. You took it easy on the man. He's definitely out now. No threat. No threat. Not at all. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, sorry. Or at least that's what I think. But he surprised me by mustering up one more swift kick in my direction, connecting with my forehead. My eyelids swelled to the size of a grape almost immediately. Seems like this last attack is more to spite me than to defend himself. I stumble back and ready myself for another round of blows, but he just slouches into the floor. He's done. Dennis grabs the rifle and instantly hands it over to me. I take it with shaking hands. He is still wincing from where Marcus knocked him while I headed for the fire extinguisher. I can't believe you stepped between me and the gun, Dennis says. He could have killed you. I was pretty sure he wouldn't, I say, although I had no such thing. Still, thanks man, that was some heroic stuff. You would have done the same, right? Dennis says nothing. His eyes looks to the floor. What do we do now, boss? Dennis asks. We've come this far and I want answers. I sense that Dennis does too, as I take a hard look at the man before I reply. We get answers from this guy. No answers, the man says. I don't have any. Next time, I won't just hit you, I say, plunging the rifle towards him. Now get up. He obeys quickly, but his legs are wobbly, and he leans against the wall for support. I can feel my swollen eyelid from where he kicked me earlier. I just hope it doesn't get so bad that it affects my sight. Okay, let's move, I say, pointing the gun further down the hallway. Go, go, go. We've come this far, and I am not going to let this guy stop us. We walk down the hallway until we come to the end. A single elevator waits for us. Its steel sliding doors larger than a normal elevator. Before I get into the elevator with this guy, I think it's wise to learn a bit more about him. I can tell it's making him uncomfortable for me to have the gun. What's your name? I ask. Marcus. And you work here? It's clear that he doesn't want to answer, but he gives us a little nod. We're looking for the rest of our crew. Any idea where they might be? I ask. No, he says curtly, not bothering to elaborate. There's got to be some useful info we could get out of this guy. Oh my god. I just need to know how to dig for it. I need a first aid kit for my friend here, I say. Where might I find one? Down on the second floor, he says, but we can't go down there. Why? What's on the second floor? He looks at me like I'm an idiot. You must be aware you're inside of a classified government facility, he says. It makes sense, but I want to doubt it. Well, I'm sure our government would want you to help save my friend. So take me to the first aid kit. I can't, he says. You don't have clearance. Hell, I barely have clearance. Then, seemingly to himself, he mutters, I make this place run. And not even a thank you, just a bunch of restricted access rooms that I'm only allowed to go into with a freaking chaperone. I interrupt his monologue. We're going to that first aid kit. I could lose my job, he says. I wonder for a moment what sort of trouble I could get in for hitting a government employee. This makes me glad I took it easy on him. Then again, he had come at us with a rifle. It makes me think that things have gone terribly wrong in this place. No kidding! An explosion in the woods, or whatever the hell happened, might be linked to it all. I need to convince him to take us to the second floor, but I'm not sure if it would be more productive to threaten him or ask for sympathy. Look, I say, it hasn't been the best day. We're just trying to find out what's going on, to find our crew, to survive. I know that this isn't a normal situation down here. It looks like all your protocols have been blown to hell. Can't you help us out now? He looks at me sternly, weighing his options. Okay, he says. Thank you, I say. With an untrusting stare, Marcus walks to the elevator door, approaching a small keypad by the doors. He punches in a numeral code on the keypad and we can hear a slight mechanical hum behind the steel doors. After a few seconds of angry glances and frightened sneers from Marcus, the elevator arrives. The steel doors slide open with a whisper, revealing the interior. So into the elevator we go. What on earth has gone on down here? It's exceptionally well lit and looks to be made of stainless steel. I half expect the thing to take off at the speed of light. There's another small keypad on the front right panel by the door, the options for 3 sublevel floors. Looks like this elevator doesn't go to the surface. So after we get a first aid kit for Dennis, how do we get out of here, I ask. We can't leave, Marcus says. Once the power came back on, the whole place was put on lockdown. What? I shout. Can't you override it? No, it's to prevent anything from getting out. I can't. Marcus looks as deflated as Dennis. We can't get out, we're stuck here. Dennis leans into the corner and almost falls on the floor. The struggle for the rifle took a lot out of him. I can see that much in his face. Slowly, we start to move down. The humming grind of the car's motors fill the space. So what can you do? So are we stuck here forever? That's what he can do. Marcus bristles at the question, but I think it's fair. I mean, he's not allowed to unlock the doors or even get medical supplies. Why keep a guy around who can't even grab a band-aid without permission? Without me, nothing will get done here. Like what? These people think they're so brilliant, but some of them can barely turn their computers on without help. The top coder in my class at MIT, and I'm stuck living underground, helping idiots who don't even trust me with keys. It's a government facility of the highest secrecy, Marcus says, a research facility. It goes 4 stories underground, and quite frankly, it scares the piss out of me that you two got in here so easily. Why is that, I ask. This is a black ops graveyard, he replies. Even the CIA doesn't know this place exists. So what goes on here? Marcus shakes his head. You may as well shoot me. I can't tell you. Why not? It's beyond classified, and the things I know don't even cover the start of it. What does that mean? I ask, starting to get irritated. It means that even if I wanted to tell you what sort of work is done here, I don't know enough about it. So, what's your job? I handle the IT work and make sure the databases are up and running. It's a 24/7 job. I haven't seen sunlight in almost a year. I wonder what staying in a place like this for that long would do to someone's mind. I was recruited, he continues. Because of the workload, no one else wants this job. But I don't really mind being by myself. No family. Plus, the IT, it's some crazy shit. Crazy how, I ask. This place generates over 100 terabytes of data per day, he answers, getting the slightest bit excited before his face falls again. 100 terabytes. So, what knocked the lights out? Seems like some sort of power outage, Marcus says. That's all I know. There was an outage and then... Then what? Dennis asks weakly. Then things got weird. Things got bad. Bad how? I ask. The whole place seems to shake when the lights went out. I was checking the monitors when it happened and everything went dead. It took no more than a minute or so before I started hearing the screams. People were being killed by... something. I tried getting the security cameras going again, but they only lasted for a little bit on my backup systems. What I saw... What? I ask, feeling a sharp fear worm its way into my guts. Well, what I saw on the screens for that little bit of time made no sense. It made me get the gun from the emergency vault. I think whatever it is, it's still down here. Hold on, I say. There's an emergency vault with a rifle in the same room as the security cameras in this place. Marcus gives me a grin that looks nearly insane. There are guns locked away in every room in this place, just in case. You know? Just in case of what? A monster will attack us? It'll be the end of our existence. As he opens his mouth to answer, the elevator comes to a stop and the doors slide open. Marcus is out straight away, without a word. He makes his exit and heads directly for a glassed-in room that is filled with computer monitors and high-end equipment. Dennis and I file out behind him, trying to keep up. As we do, one very alarming question runs through my head. What the hell kind of government facility keeps loaded guns in emergency vaults in every single room? And that is the end of chapter 2. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. See you later.